So why don't I call the meeting to order? Good evening. My name is Bob Connors. It is 7:01 p.m. and I'd like to call the June 20th meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission to order. Sam, can you read the remote open meeting law preamble and take a roll call of the members present?
All right. As a preliminary matter, my name is Samantha Holt, Town Staff Conservation Agent for the Newbury Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Conservation Commission members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bob Connors,
Yes.
Brad Duffin,
Yes.
Diane O'Brien,
Yes.
Mary Rimmer,
Yes.
Peter Pecos,
Yes.
and TJ Conti.
Yes.
All right, good evening. This June 20th, 2023 open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with the act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which extends the governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025. This order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference, and the recording will be available on the Newbury Access YouTube channel. Meeting materials were provided to Conservation Commission members prior to the meeting for review and were posted on the Conservation Commission webpage for public access. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Proponents will be given 10 minutes to present. More time may be allowed at the discretion of the chair. After they conclude their remarks, we will go down the list of commission members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, for all attendees except commission members and staff, please remember to mute your computer using the mute button or your phone using *6 to toggle mute and unmute when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer unless you have been allowed to do so. Anything we broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any responses, please wait until the floor is yielded to you and state your name before speaking. If commission members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself when you wish to speak. There will be an opportunity for public comment and questions during public hearings. After commission members have spoken, we will afford the public an opportunity to comment and/or ask questions as follows. I will seek questions and comments at the appropriate time through the Zoom raise hand function. For video participants, to raise your hand, hover over the bottom of the Zoom window below the photo gallery and click on the yellow hand that appears. If you don't see a yellow hand, click on the participants button. A list of participants will open on and display on the right. At the bottom of this participant area, you will see an option to click on a raise hand button. Please ensure your name is fully and correctly displayed on the participant list. You may rename yourself by using the more function next to your name. For telephone participants, to raise your hand in a Zoom meeting, hit *9 on your phone's keypad. We will then allow questions and comments from members of the public who have raised their hands in the order in which they appear listed on my screen, based on when the function was selected. Each participant will be called upon to provide his or her name or address and affiliation, and will be afforded 3 minutes to make comments. More time may be allowed at the discretion of the chair. The proponent or commission members will have the opportunity to reply as needed. Your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your questions. We will then continue down the list of those in the raise hand column and again afford time for responses as needed. All participants are reminded that only matters which fall into the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission may be discussed. The chat feature has been disabled for this meeting and everyone is expected to conduct themselves in the same manner they would at an in-person meeting. Disruptions that impede operations of this commission will be addressed once by the chair and should be acknowledged by the disruptor. Further disruptions may result in complete removal from the meeting with no readmittance. Vulgar or obscene actions or comments will result in immediate removal from the meeting with no readmittance. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you, Sam. All right, team, upcoming meeting dates. July 18th is our next meeting. And just a reminder, we'll be starting at 6 p.m. From July 1st on. And we'll give that a whirl, guys, and see how that works. And if it works, we'll continue. If not, welcome your feedback. We can always make a change accordingly. All right, I'd like to introduce new members that will be joining the board on July 1st. Woody Knight will be our new planning board liaison, and Mickey Brown will join us. Woody, you have big shoes to fill. Pete Pecos has been the planning board liaison since 2019, I think, and an integral member of the commission.
Yep, Pete started with the commission on September 3rd, 2019.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, minutes, meeting minutes. We have the June 6th meeting minutes. Do we have any comments, concerns, or corrections to the draft minutes as presented? Why don't we take a moment and review? Okay, you're a crack group. You'd already be speaking up if we had some corrections. So hearing no questions from the members, is there a motion to approve the June 6th meeting minutes as written?
So moved.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Mary,
I'm gonna abstain since I missed that meeting.
okay. Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, first matter before the commission, extension of an existing permit, DEP file number 0501287, 28 Riverfront. A request to extend the existing order of conditions issued on April 25th, 2019. The work to complete general landscape maintenance, relocate a paved area, conduct invasive species management, and rebuild an existing pier. Sam, can you provide a project overview and a recommendation on this matter?
Yes, so this one was originally issued, I believe, back in 2019. I believe it was in April of 2019. So normally the expiration date for that order would have been last year. They're only good for 3 years. However, because it was still valid during COVID, there's a COVID tolling period, which is like 400 something days, which put the new expiration date out to July 31st of this year. So we are well within the time frame to get the extension done. So far, the work that's been completed has been some of the yard work, the driveway, patio. They've built or installed most of the dock components, and they've started the invasive species management. The work that they have left right now is to finish the dock and to finish up the invasive species management that they had approved. And my recommendation would be to issue actually, it was originally requested to get the extension for 2 years. We can do up to 3. So ultimately it's up to you guys how long you want to extend it for. But I would recommend issuing the extension.
Okay, as I recall, Sam, the bylaw, as long as the applicant makes the request prior to the expiration, the commission shall grant the request for 3 years, as I recall the bylaw said in reading it. But
So the bylaw doesn't apply here, but it's basically the same thing in the WPA for this one.
Yeah. okay, no, our bylaw does reference that though, as I recall. But okay, any questions from the commission members? Mary, any questions on this one?
No, I mean, I think some of the elements of this project are relevant to the dock policy that is on the agenda for another time on the agenda. But and I was not present at the time that this was approved. I wasn't on the board at that time. So I do believe that the regulations do allow the commission to not agree to an extension, but they should be provided a reason if there's, if conditions have changed or the regulations have changed or something has changed that would result in a different outcome of the project. But it doesn't appear that any of those things are present in this case. So I would recommend issuance of I think they requested the 2 years. So that's probably what we should provide if that's what the request was.
Okay, thank you, Mary. And Mary, once we close out this one matter, we'll bring up the dock and pier policy.
Okay, great.
So you can chime in on that. Anything else, Mary? I can circle back if you want.
Nope.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Pete, any comments or questions on this one?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Brad, any comments or questions?
All good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Brad. TJ, how about yourself?
All set.
Squire O'Brien, any comments or questions?
Nope, Sam explained about the tolling period. That was my only question.
Okay, Apparently I know too many attorneys with Irish names and I get you all confused.
A lot of us out there.
Okay, I don't have any questions or concerns in this one. Sam, any follow-up on you with this one?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to extend the existing order of conditions permit issued on 4/25/2019 for
So
2
moved.
years regarding 28 Riverfront?
Motion made.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor of extending this permit, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. So team, under our administration section, we were going to discuss an existing dock and pier policy. Mary has some time constraints tonight and she's familiar with this. So I was going to move that up right now so Mary could give us her background feedback and her thoughts on this. Mary, why don't you bring us up to speed on this one, if you would?
Sure. So just to give everyone some context, for docks and piers, we obviously need, because they're in a resource area, they all need review by us under the Wetland Protection Act. In addition, they need other authorization, either Chapter 91 licensing through Mass DEP Waterways Program or a local harbor master Section 61, Section 10A permit. And those are issued only for temporary structures, so ramps and floats only. So the catch is that project sites that are in areas of critical environmental concern, ACEC, which is mapped by the state and includes all the Parker River estuaries all the way up past Route 1 into Martin Burns. It's a pretty extensive area within a town, and it's not possible to get a waterways license, a Chapter 91 license for new docks or significant improvements of existing docks that are in ACEC. So what has to happen is that the docks have to be designed so that they don't require a Chapter 91 license. And in order to do that, all of the fixed portions of the dock and pier have to be above mean high water, because Chapter 91 jurisdiction is below mean high water. So if they're temporary structures below mean high water, that's fine. So what typically happens is you see a fixed pier that has pilings that extend maybe across the salt marsh, but at the point where the average high water mark, which is roughly elevation 4.5, starts, that the piers have to end. And then you can have a ramp and float. And the piers and docks also have to comply with Mass DEP pier and dock policy for design and heights and widths and deck spacing and all those kind of things. So when the policy was written, it was written by a former member who really was trying to pare down on the regulations, and in my opinion, sort of misinterpreted the rules a little bit, and that they were entirely prohibited in ACEC. And so we were able to revise the policy from its original iteration, its original posting, when I got on the board, to make it, instead of a rule, it was a general policy that the commission would basically not look favorably on new docks and piers in ACEC. And there was some discouraging language in there. I think the way I'm coming down on all of this, and to make a long story short, I don't think that the policy is necessary. I think there are enough rules in place already through Mass DEP, through their own dock and pier guidance, and the town's bylaw where it applies on Plum Island, that we have enough information to be able to evaluate these projects without needing the policy. I think that one of the things that I noted about the previous dock that we just discussed is that there really wasn't enough information in the plan set to be able to make a determination whether or not that dock actually complied. And so one of the things that would have been helpful would have been a profile of the dock with full survey all the way out to the low water mark, to be able to tell where mean high water actually about in relation to, a profile view of the structure itself. And that way we could determine the maximum height above grade of the lowest horizontal member and all the other elements of the dock compliance with DEP's policy. So long and short of it is that it was my thought and recommendation that I think that the policy itself is a little confusing. The members that are present now aren't the same members that voted on it originally, I think, except for Pete. And I think the members that did vote on it were mostly just sort of going along with one particular member's very detailed research into this and trying to support him in that research. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Mary. So it seems to me that the policy exceeds what's currently at the state level and beyond what our jurisdiction would be at the local level, and would be somewhat in conflict with that. And I'm not sure how we could defend it if we tried to follow it. Wouldn't it be grounds for, if we turn somebody down, it would seem to be fertile grounds for an appeal. But I'm going to stop there and let's see what other questions we have. Pete, any questions? Going back, because you were probably on the commission. when
So-
this went in.
I think it might be helpful for the commission to be able to review the policy and have a detailed discussion about it, because there was a lot of energy at the time of its iteration. So since there are new members, I think it'd be valuable to review it in detail and maybe have an open discussion as to what its implications would be now in the current commission formation.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Brad, any comments? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I echo Pete's comments. I would like to see or like to review in open discussion the existing DEP regs and this bylaw or policy that as it states now, and kind of redline it in real time as to where there is conflict and what we would be talking about by adjusting what was already written and passed by a previous commission.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Brad. TJ, any comments on this?
Just in going through all of that, which I do agree we need to go through it in depth, but we've had a couple of projects come up in the recent past where we've already voted on that. Are you talking about making this retroactively?
No, I think the question is
or-
whether we just repeal the policy. 'Cause
Just-
it's
but-
really,
Correct, but
or leave it in place. I think that's going to be the ultimate decision we'll make.
from this
on-
point forward.
Yeah. And I think Mary and I are kind of in agreement. It adds probably more conflict than it does
Agreed.
assistance.
Agreed.
but-
Yeah.
But I think, so let me stop there. Diane, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, I mean, I trust Mary's assessment. If the
As
current.
we always do. as we
Yes.
always do.
If current DEP regs and such would allow us to assess the situation, I'm all for having less policies and guidance, not guidance, but policies in place and rather than more. But I haven't actually read the policy, so I would take a peek at it before.
Yeah, and it sort of
Mhm.
raises the question of whether or not the commission wants to have policies as well, if that's something that we want to try to do.
So I'm going to make a suggestion. Sam, put this on the July 18th meeting agenda. And if you could send out the current doc and policy, doc and pair policy to the members, give us all a chance to review it. And I think we can look at it and take some action or make a decision at the July meeting. Does that sound like a plan, team?
Mhm.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that review, Mary.
Sure.
All right, moving on, we have a public hearing. This one is continued. It's DEP file number 0501404, 1719 10th Street. The work to raise and rebuild an existing two-family residence and associated site work. Sam, can you provide a project overview and a recommendation on this matter? And I do know that there were some additional technical comments that came in from DEP, if you could give us a little insight on that.
Yes, so last time, Attorney DeShane, just kind of went through and did a quick overview of everything. I did see the new comments. I just saw them today, from DEP, which basically, they basically just said that the hard copy of the site plans that they got, they were having a hard time reviewing them because of the quality of it, which is, I guess, whatever their feelings are. They also noted that they were looking for some more elaboration from the narrative, that basically saying that, you know, they thought the narrative just sort of said what the performance standards were, but didn't explain how the project met those performance standards. Which again, that's their opinion. I thought the narrative looked pretty good. It's pretty much the same narrative that we've gotten for several other projects recently that we had no comments on, but not going to argue with DEP's opinions. So today when I was going back through the special conditions for the OOC, I put in some additional findings, and I can bring that up right
Sam, if you could, Sam, you took a screenshot of the technical comments. Could you put those up? Do you have those readily available? I think that way their members could look at that as well.
I have them up if you want me to read them.
Yeah, here. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, so they said that the existing conditions plans that were submitted were poor quality and couldn't be reviewed. They wanted revised copies. The electronic copy it's a lot better. It's a lot easier to read. When you start zooming in on it, it doesn't distort, which seems to kind of maybe been the problem with the hard copy plans that just got distorted when it was put onto that bigger plan sheet. And they also said that they wanted a description on how the proposed redevelopment project meets each of the performance standards for coastal dunes and not just list the performance standards. And they had to demonstrate how it would result in a net improvement to the coastal dune and improve vegetative cover. So similar to kind of what we did when we issued the order of conditions for the governor's walkway, where we got those late comments from DEP. I believe we got those after we closed the hearing, and we just covered the responses to those comments in the order of conditions under the findings. I did something similar here.
You know what, Sam, let me do this. Let me stop you there. And why don't we let's have Doug. I think Doug is he's going to make the presentation on this. Why don't we have Doug respond to this this new technical comment, go to questions from the members, and then if we get this file, we can review the special conditions to see if that's going to satisfy the outstanding issues on the technical comment, if that's okay. All right, Doug, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Can you hear me okay?
I certainly can.
Yes.
Great. And you may see I'm actually on my daughter's computer. I had a little technical problem with my machine, but I was able to jump onto this one, babysitting the grandkids. So good evening. Again, Doug DeShane from Finneran and Nicholson. And I did receive these comments from DEP, and I spoke with Samantha about them today. We did, in fact, you'll recall that DEP did previously ask us for revised plans. So we did mail them out a new full-size copy of, full size. And quite honestly, I mean, the quality of these are as good as, any other plans we get from our engineers. These were done by Arc Survey and Engineering. I'm sure you're familiar with Mr. Meehan's work, so perhaps it was the reduced sized hard copies that we mailed to DEP that they had trouble with, but I made sure that they now have full-size 2x3 copies, so I think we've addressed that. I also discussed their comment with respect to the, meeting the performance standards. And that was an earlier comment that DEP had, and I did redraft that entire section on the revised NOI. And as Sam was kind enough to help me out with that, make sure that they were done correctly. And we went through them and I sent them to DEP. So I'm not quite sure if they still feel my drafting wasn't meaty enough, or if this is a holdover from their first comment. But in any event, we have revised it. I do believe it was pretty comprehensive, but certainly happy to, continue to add language and add as much more information as DEP wants. The board will recall at the last meeting, I did go through sort of the impacts and improvements that the project would result in. And as you'll recall, while we are increasing the footprint of the building, we are actually reducing the entire footprint and impact that the site has by removing over 1,500 square feet of concrete walkways and steps and patios and concrete walls. We're essentially pulling all of that off the site, just about 1,600 square feet. We are going to replace one of the walkways with permeable pavers. And we are building a small, I think it's 46 square foot wooden walkway, but we're also reducing others. So I think what I probably need to do to make DEP more comfortable is just to integrate those specific numbers as far as what we're removing and what we're, when we're increasing the vegetated area, when we're removing debris piles, removing concrete. I think if I add the specific numbers, although they are shown on the plan, perhaps that's what they're looking for. But I don't see it as a problem, and certainly something I'm happy to get over to you tomorrow or the next day. But overall, we were waiting for a number, the DEP file number last time we were here, and we did get that. So again, I think DEP's comments were a little surprising, but certainly nothing we can't adequately address. And again, I have already sent them the plans.
Okay. Doug, we have a couple of new members that are going to be starting July 1, and Mary Rimmer wasn't in attendance when you gave us your initial comments at the public hearing. So why don't you just give us your best 10 minutes recap of
Sure,
this,
I'd be
so that
happy to do that,
everyone will
Mr.
be
Chairman.
up to speed?
Again, I'm representing Lisa and Kevin Barlow. They're the owners of the property at 1719 10th Street. It's actually, originally it was 2 lots. Now, due to merger, they are 1 lot, but I think the assessor's office still looks at it as 2 lots, although for zoning and building purposes, they are 1. It's a 13,300 square foot lot. There is an existing 2-family home on the property and a very nice pool and some sandy play areas, and pretty much has been a 2-family residence for many, many, many years. What the Barlows would like to do is to take that building down and build a new 2-family. We
Excuse
have
me,
received
can we
all the
have the-
necessary perments from the zoning board.
Doug, if you
Have the
could.
plan
Doug?
shown?
Yeah, Doug, yeah, if you could go back to your.
Well,
Sure. Now, if you look at the plan, you can see the original structure is shown in the hatched lines. And the new structure, yeah, right there, the new structure is in solid lines, and it's longer. Yep, it's longer and it's L-shaped. The driveway and the entrance to the garage is in that nook, in the corner, up in the right-hand corner. If you could slide the plan over a little more, I I've got everybody's pictures there. There you go. Thank you. So we do have a significant stone parking and driveway area. And at least initially, we're gonna put the dumpster on that stone parking area to the right. Let's see, let me grab my notes. So again, probably the biggest change to the new home, as you would expect, is that it is going to be on pilings. So it will be able to meet all flood requirements, and it will also allow the dunes to migrate and move around naturally by not impeding the flow of sand or water. So I think that's a significant improvement to the site. We are increasing the total footprint of the house by 800 square feet, and we are adding 46 square feet of wood walkways and a little patio. However, we are removing over 125 square feet of wood decks and steps. As I mentioned earlier, we are removing 1,550 square feet of concrete walls, concrete steps, and concrete patios. We will be building one small patio. It's just over 300 square feet, but we are proposing to use permeable pavers for that one patio. We do unfortunately have a number of, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call them debris piles, some dirt and some wood and some vegetation, cut vegetation, but just kind of, let's call it lawn debris piles that we are removing from the site. We're going to clean the site up. That's about 223 square feet. We figure these debris piles are taking. There's no plastic or dirt, or no plastics or other non-organic materials. It's really just sand and vegetation that was cut and some wood and just, a little pile on the side. So we're going to remove all of that. And then we would, any areas that the commission or quite frankly, the bylaws feel that, where we've cleaned something up or removed something, I believe Mr. Meehan has proposed to increase the vegetated areas. Right now, we have about, let's see, according to the plan, we have 5,179 square feet of what's considered vegetated area. We are going to actually increase that by about just under 500 square feet, so that our total vegetated area on the site will go up to 5,658 square feet. So essentially removing a significant amount of impervious, replacing some of it with pervious, and the rest of it will be revegetated or allowed just to vegetate by removing whatever wood walkway or pile was on it. So I guess on balance, we're cleaning the site up, reducing impacts, and most importantly, allowing floodwaters and sand to migrate unimpeded.
Okay. Doug, why don't you hold there and let me open up questions to the members. Mary, do you want to look at can we put the table, zoom in on the table down the bottom, which shows existing and proposed? Okay. All right. Mary, questions?
Yes, so thanks for the presentation on this. I obviously getting the building up on piles is preferable, and that's an improvement. The building is larger, the pool is larger, and largely the mitigation that's being offered is removal of what's most likely unpermitted, various structures on the site. So there is, a considerable amount of new work area, and it's not clear to me how much of that is impacting existing dune vegetation, and whether or not there was a planting plan included. I see that areas that you've identified in greenish are to be restored, but I don't know if there's a accompanying planting plan that goes with those areas.
No, we did not. Mr. Meehan didn't provide us and maybe the bylaws didn't ask him, but we didn't have a planting plan. Mary, we presumed, we would take some direction from the commission in terms of your, what you'd like to see there.
Right, so,
We, just to be clear, we are not, we're not making the pool any bigger. We are, we're replacing the walkway around it.
okay. And then,
Pool's not being touched.
thanks. It also typically with these projects, we have a profile view of the house. So we know how high it's being elevated above grade, above the existing grade, and what measures are being used to, okay, there, thank you. I didn't see that.
Okay,
So I see the piles, proposed building elevations 18.8. Of finished floor garage storage elevation, okay, is higher. And what will be the bottom treatment between the lowest sort of horizontal steel beam and the ground surface? This is the pool, this is just a cross section through, okay.
Doug, this is in, what zone is this in? Is it zone X?
X, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Thank you.
So we're not worried about floodplain so much as we are worried about just allowing sand to move through and underneath the structure. So we need
Uh-huh.
2 feet above existing grade. And this is just a little hard to read. Existing grade note 5. I know that the garage elevation looks like we've got 8.5 feet. I don't know what you have.
hold on, let me see if I have the notes here.
That's right.
3.5.
So yeah, it says contour 21, elevation 23.05. Elevation 21.1. Well, it certainly looks like you have your 2 feet of separation.
Yes,
Just
that's,
looking
I
at
understand. I'm sorry, I'm
elevation.
trying to verify that.
Well, I'm just looking at the stations and it's pretty much, it's elevation 21 is what it looks like. Plus or minus 1.1.
21 to 23.05, you just barely have, yeah.
Yeah.
So it would remain open, then there wouldn't be any lattice or anything underneath there.
It says here that there is a note that the trim or skirting is proposed to be a minimum of 2.1 feet above the grade around the perimeter of the proposed structure. So we will have a minimum of 2 feet from the bottom of that trim board. We're not
Okay.
proposing any other skirting or skirting,
Okay.
not proposing like lattice or anything. So there'd be a free 2.1 feet.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it doesn't give you a lot of room in a shifting dune to be able to meet that standard over time. So it would be nice to see that a little more freeboard provided in that. So I would like to see that and a planting plan provided before voting on this. And unfortunately, with that, Bob, I do have to step off at this
Okay.
point. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Pete, what are your thoughts on this
Additional at
one?
this point in time, thank you.
Okay, Brad, any questions at this time?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a suggestion. I think if you go back to the tables, if you kind of, for lack of better term, dumb it down to the point of this is existing coverage, existing lot coverage, and this is proposed lot coverage. I think if you can show without, I think you actually gave too much detail here, and you made it too confusing for the people at DEP to understand that you were actually improving the site. So
Yeah.
if you just put on there that this is the existing lot coverage with structures, decks and steps, in-ground pool at all, and this is the proposed, and your net gain is, and I'm making the number up, 600, 1,000 square feet. I think that should answer the mail with the comments with the DEP.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
agree with Mary, there should be a planting plan. And from my perspective, the the elevation that you show meets the standard. So,
Okay. Anything else, Brad?
no, that's good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. TJ, any comments on this one? TJ, you're on mute if you're,
Can you go back to the drawing? One quick question, the area that says boat/canoe storage area down, yeah, by the wood patio to be removed, bottom. Is that going to be a boat on a trailer or that a vehicle will have to get to, or is that just a canoe? And
My understanding, those are just paddle boats, hand boats, canoes that they technically pile there or.
no
lay
vehicles
there.
will have to go back there to get access to them.
Yeah, no vehicles.
so you're
Okay.
thinking more of kayaks would probably be the likely, I would hate to see a canoe on the Merrimack River. TJ, any other
No,
comments?
no other questions.
I'm going to circle back to all of you again. Diane, any questions on this one?
Now, I don't have it in front of me, but when I read DEP's comments, I thought they were sort of complaining about maybe the conclusory statement, because you'd list the performance standard and then just said there's no work being done that's going to have an impact here, but without actually maybe going through and saying that, we're going to be mitigating in this way, or that's what I thought they were looking for. But maybe that's just me. Like if you look at the updated submittal,
Mhm.
because when I read that, I was wondering what it was they were asking for as well. So I actually read the narrative portions, and that was my thought. So I don't know if that's what they're looking for, but I think it gets back to what Mary was saying as far as just saying this is how we're improving this. With the pilings and all that, that was very clear. But I don't know if they're considering removal of the debris piles and things like that. If it's just debris, is that really an improvement? I don't know what's in the debris piles, if it's just organic matter or whatever. So I don't know if that might be helpful.
No, it is. And I think a combination of what was just said in terms of giving them the numbers and actually giving them a statement as to how this will improve is probably going to save the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good project. I don't, it's going up on pilings, which is the best thing ever. So.
Yep.
Okay. Diane, anything else?
No.
All right, so team, I'm going to do a little recap. So we're doing a two-family home that's going on piling. It's got an expanded footprint, but this is already cleared ZBA, as I recall, Doug.
Yes.
So we don't have an issue on that. They're looking to replace existing hard structures to a more permeable materials and increase vegetation. I mean, I drove by the site. It's a fully developed site, and I think it certainly will be an improvement on a number of levels here. Sam, you had mentioned earlier, why don't you circle back, you were thinking that you may be able to address some of these issues within special conditions. Why don't you go back to that? That's why I wanted to hold you, Sam, on that until we had a chance to go through this. Certainly a planting plan could be a condition to an order of conditions, certainly. So go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. So we could definitely add a condition down at the end that a planting plan should be submitted, and just the same language that we typically use, that it would be subject to final review and approval by the commission or the agent. But as far as the comments from DEP about the narrative, I kind of tried to touch on that in the findings. One thing that I did notice actually when I was going back through it today, Doug, was that you had checked off that there was land subject to coastal storm flowage in the NOI, and because this is in Zone X, that technically doesn't apply. So just to cover all of the bases and make sure that there's no good reason for DEP to appeal it for any reason, I threw in the note in there that it doesn't contain it, that everything is outside of the mapped 100-year floodplain. And then this was the finding that I put in to ideally cover the concerns about the narrative. Basically just to say that what the proposal is, what the associated site work includes, which is the decrease in impervious surface, increase in open areas of sand and native vegetation, and debris removal. And then just noted that based on review and discussion during the public hearings, that all the work complies with the performance standards and results in overall site improvements that benefit the coastal dune by increasing native vegetation. Native vegetative cover, decreasing impervious surfaces, and allowing for more natural movement of sand and water, which is what we get from the house being raised up on pilings. Which kind of, I mean, those are like the biggest benefits overall that the project is going to have. And then one thing that I had reached out to Doug about last week was also that I noticed the proposal about the fence, that there's a proposed vinyl fence, which would be the limit of work. On Plum Island, we do have a requirement that fences have to be 50% open. So I added that as a condition down at the end. And we can feel free to rephrase that. I threw in the temporary comment or the temporary language as well, just in case there was any desire for, obviously there's a chance that they might not be able to put the fence in before any of the work gets done. We certainly wouldn't want it to get installed and then damaged during construction. So because of all the vegetation and everything and the tree line and whatnot that's out beyond where the work is going to be done, I added in the temporary language just in case there was any desire from the commission to have like snow fencing put up to delineate the limit of work. That is something that's typical on Plum Island, is that we would ask for something like that, basically in lieu of doing erosion control, because the erosion control is a little almost kind of useless in certain areas on Plum Island. You don't really want to prevent that movement. So the snow fencing can help to delineate that limit of work without actually impeding the flow of anything. So I threw that in there, and then we can definitely put in a condition about the planting plan as well.
Where would you put would you just make it 68 on the submittal of a planting plan prior to commencement of work approved by either the commission or its agent?
Yeah, it would just go right in at the end.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to circle back to everyone. Pete, what are your thoughts on this? I think Sam has done a good job in covering the issues here. And what are your thoughts at this time?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. Thank you, Sam.
Okay. Brad, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, great job, Sam, getting 68 conditions on this. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Diane, how about yourself?
68's enough for me.
Well, I have a birthday that's going to be 69 in a couple of days, so 68. I like 68. It's a good number.
Yeah.
TJ, any further thoughts?
No comments. I'm okay.
Well, Tim, I think Sam has covered the issues raised by DEP, and I think Doug has solved a lot of the issues with DEP simply by sending off a full set of plans.
Yeah.
But So I guess at this time, do we have any raised hands from the public, Sam?
I do not see any.
Okay. Do any members have requests for additional information or plan amendment or adding additional content to the notice of intent?
No.
Okay. All right, then. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
So moved.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion, a second. Okay, a motion to close public hearing, roll call vote. Say aye. TJ,
Aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yep.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, team, what's our pleasure? Do we have any other special conditions, Mary, Sam, that we need to discuss? I think we've covered everything.
I don't think there's anything additional. There was no proposal for erosion control in the plan. And it's not very typical that we do see actual erosion controls used. So unless at some point tonight, anyone said that they wanted to see any sort of erosion control, I was just gonna take out all of those conditions, afterwards, if nobody wanted to see them, because there's no point in having them in the order conditions.
No,
They're not gonna
Please.
I agree. Does anyone have any concerns about not having erosion control, having sand migrate from one part of the yard to the other? Yeah, it's always a conflict when you see all these big highway projects, they've got erosion control on both sides. And on Plum Island, we make sure we have free movement of sand.
Do we want to add a condition to require the snow fencing to delineate the limit of work prior to the vinyl fencing going in?
Well, why don't we do this, Sam? Why don't we consider having them, and again, it's to keep them out of trouble more than anything. Maybe it's a good thought to ask them to put snow fencing in the location that they're proposing the vinyl fence.
Right.
And then that way they need protection probably for the pool. I would think, Doug, that during construction, you're going to want to have some, protection around the pool area.
Mr. Chairman, I always think it's a great idea to require snow fencing. If nothing else, it delineates the work area for contractors and people who tend to not always be thinking about it. So good fences make good contractors as far as I'm concerned. So we'd be happy to put a snow fence in. I can have it staked out on the ground and Sam can come up, and if she thinks it's the right location, we'll put it in.
Okay, I think that's the way to go, Sam. Just temporary snow fencing to be installed basically at your approval, with your approval prior to construction. So would that go from 68 to 69 now on conditions?
You have to eliminate one.
Or it's going to go down pretty significantly. There's like 5 or 6 that cover erosion control specifically. They're all
just
gonna
not
get,
they're not applicable.
so.
Okay. All right, team. One more go around. Any other questions? We've closed the public hearing. So what's left to do is there a motion to issue an order of conditions for 17, 19, 10th Street with the usual conditions?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. TJ,
Aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes aye. Thank you, Doug.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate the time and happy birthday. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Sam, for all your help.
No problem.
so the next public hearing is 61 Boston Road. Sam, did we get a file number on this?
Unfortunately, I don't believe we did.
This is a septic
I
system, too.
think Bob tried fight tooth and nail to see if we could get one. And I think it was an issue of the fee not clearing yet in Boston, which is a little bit strange after 3 weeks, but it happens.
We really can't take any action on this team. So Sam, I'm assuming that the applicant wants a continuance.
They are going to be requesting one. I believe we do have Bob here. I think he did want to do a quick presentation of the plans, just to get it out there. But we are, regardless, we're gonna have to do a continuance anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, I would suggest, this is a pretty routine septic system replacement. You're just going to have to duplicate the same presentation at the continued hearing, certainly your prerogative, but the commission doesn't typically entertain any questions when we do not have an assigned number.
Sure. I just, I fought right up to 5 o'clock to try to get.
No, I
number.
know it.
And I was just waiting for the fee to clear. So I just wanted to open up the hearing and continue it, just for legal advertisement and all that, just to show that we, in good faith, wanted to open up the hearing and continue.
So our next meeting is July 18th.
Yes.
Okay, you want us to continue it to
Yes, I'd
July
like to, on behalf of my client, I'd like to request a continuance to the July 18th meeting.
Okay, is there a motion to continue this public hearing till July 18th?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Do we have a second? Okay, roll call vote, all in favor, say aye. TJ,
Aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, thank you, Bob. Good
Thank
luck
you
with
very
your
much.
number.
Thank you.
Okay. Public hearing, amendment to an existing order of conditions, DEP file number 0501401, Middle Road, Governor's Academy. A request to amend the order of conditions issued on April 25th, 2023 to reconfigure the route of the approved walkway. Sam, want to give us an overview and a recommendation? And I see Mark and Tom are in the wings.
Yes, so originally when this came in, the pathway was actually going to go a little bit straighter than it is. And Mark, do you want me to pull up the plans or do you have those up?
Yeah, if you can pull them up, Sam, that'd be great. I've had some issues with screen sharing with Newbury, but Tom can pull it up if need be.
I have them up if you know.
Was this as a result of site plan, this change, or is it just a field modification that?
A couple things. We do have planning board a site plan approval now, which we actually just received today. But the reality is that Governor's Academy, Tom got a contractor out there that does a lot of this type of work and suggested some minor changes that might mitigate some of the concerns, frankly, that came up during the reviews by the planning board's consultant and whatnot. And so we've made these kind of minor changes to address some of that commentary, and which I think also satisfied the planning board, and they were fine with it. And so I'm happy to go through it quickly. If you can zoom in on let's start maybe, Sam, with the area between the large boulders that are on what we did with the pathway, a boardwalk at that point goes between the two large boulders, is just raise it up about 6 inches. And that way we could have the 5-foot width of the boardwalk and the structure, the framing structure, go through that area without having to, block out, or knock out any rock or anything like that. And so that really had no change whatsoever on any of the resource areas. And then when we are heading east, just as the the boardwalk got out of the wetland area and transitioned to the crushed rock pathway. It used to go between those two large trees right there. And there was a concern that had been raised during site plan review about tree roots and the exposed ledge in that area and all that stuff. So we had talked about it as being, if any field changes were warranted, we'd of course get Sam involved. We'd run them by the commission, the planning board, et cetera. But what we ended up doing is running instead the pathway, routed it around those trees, and then tied it back in right about there where Sam has her paw there. So anyway, I think that'll what happens is, well, let's keep going, and then no changes through there. Now, right where it gets along the driveway going up to the facilities buildings, we lowered that. We raised it just a little bit. The pathway had a little bit of a cut in that area. We raised it about 6 inches so that water would not channelize running down the pathway. And then, Sam, if you could move your hand just a little bit further up, you can see that existing catch basin. If you could maybe touch that, Sam. What we did was the pathway used to go up about 20 feet further west to where the flush area was with the Cape Cod berm. But what happened was that put the pathway just uphill of the catch basin, which ran the risk of water short circuiting and running down the path before it got to the catch basin. So what we did is moved it just west a little bit. So it came into the driveway just below the catch basin, right there. Yep. So now, so the pathway got about 20 feet longer, maybe down at where it jumped out of the wetland, and it got about 20 feet shorter at that point. So the overall pathway length is about the same. But I mentioned in my letter to the commission, I called it a de minimis change. I think the planning board, when they were drafting their decision, wanted some specific numbers. So I did some of the math, and we were looking at about a 243 square foot buffer zone only increase in disturbed area, which was all attributable to where we ran around the trees where it got a little longer there. So the overall disturbed area in buffer zone went from I think the original number was 7,082 square feet. We went up to 7,325 square feet. So that increase of 243. The bituminous walkway on the other side of Middle Road did not change. The amount of pilings and all that, the 18 square feet, that didn't change. So we were really looking at that, just a little bit longer, pathway work in the buffer zone, including the off grading that you can see there. So the pathway is the same length, a little bit more off grading, but that'll all be revegetated and whatnot. So that's the changes in a nutshell. And when we all met on site to discuss the changes right before the planning board meeting, we it was suggested to us that we probably want to bring this before the commission for an amendment to the order conditions. So that's where we are.
Okay, thank you. Let me open this up to the members. Pete, any questions at this point?
No, as indicated, it went through planning without any hiccups.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Brad, any questions?
All good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
TJ, any questions?
Do the changes have to go back to DEP for any kind of review or any kind of comment from them?
Yeah, we did send a copy of the changes to DEP.
And did they have any comment on the changes?
No, nope.
Okay.
Good question, TJ, though.
Yep.
Anything else, TJ?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thanks, TJ. Diane, any questions?
Did the replication plan change at all?
No, it did not. It did not have to. Because the
Sorry.
area of wetland disturbance. Great question. The area wetland disturbance did not change whatsoever.
And it's just to
Okay.
work within the buffer.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. And I don't have any questions. Sam, do you have any follow-up comments or questions on this one?
Not from me.
Okay. Do
Sam,
we-
I presume, Sam, that you didn't receive any DEP comments, right?
I
Yeah,
have not, no.
Absolutely,
Usually if they
yeah.
send them out, they send them to everybody, so.
right, right.
I didn't see anything on the website today when I looked. Okay, Sam, any raised hands from the public at this time?
I do not see any.
Okay, so with this as amendment, we have to close the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. Do any members have requests for additional information or plan amendment or adding additional content to the notice of intent?
No.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, roll call vote. TJ,
aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right. Well, the next step, team, is there a motion to amend the order of conditions for Middle Road? With the, do we even have any additional conditions, Sam? I guess that's the question. Does this require any additional conditions at this point?
I don't think so. I don't see any
Yeah.
need for it. Most of the important stuff's not changing.
Right.
And this is overall, it's a pretty minimal adjustment.
No, I think it makes good sense to me. All right. Do we have a motion to amend the order of conditions for Middle Road?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. TJ,
aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors vote yes. Okay, thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Sam, if you want to, we could coordinate afterwards or tomorrow, whatever, about specific numbers if you wanted to put those into the amended order. And refer to the May 15th plan set.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great
Okay.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, administration. So we can skip the discussion on Town Dock and Pier. Sam, why don't you give us an update on your new arrangement between Newbury and Merrimack?
Yes. So just in case any of you haven't heard already, over the last 6 months or so, Tracy and I have been working with the town of Merrimack to get an intermunicipal agreement set up, to share my services as the conservation agent between both towns. That has since been approved by both towns. Everything went really well. So I will be starting there. July 1st will be technically my first day on both payrolls. So the 3rd will actually be my first official day doing both. Very excited for it. I am going to have set office hours for both towns. As of right now, the hours for Newbury that have been approved are Mondays 8 to 12, Tuesdays 8 to 7 p.m., Wednesdays 8 to 12, and Thursdays 8 to 2. And that's all going to get updated on the webpage as well. Planning on putting out an announcement sometime this week, and then sometime next week, I will actually change probably next Thursday, I'll actually change the office hours that are listed on the website, on the webpage. But I'll put an announcement out next week or this week so that people have some ample notice that the office hours are going to be changing. I'll still be available, obviously, phone, email, if anything major comes up. Both towns have agreed that we are aware that sometimes crap hits the proverbial fan, and I might be needed
No,
one
I can't
town.
imagine that.
on time that's supposed to be for the other. So that's all very much aware from all sides. So I'll still be available if there's ever any emergencies or anything. And thankfully, now that the Rocks Village Bridge is open, it won't take me that long to get from one town to another. So yeah, so that's the little update on that. And then I guess if it's all right with you, Bob, I can roll that right into the email that I sent out last week about the BVW manual
Yeah,
update
please
that
do
got
that.
sent out.
Yes, please do.
So I believe it was in May, I think, that the new BVW delineation manual got sent out. It got rolled out by DEP. It's a brand new updated delineation manual. It's pretty cool. It's got all kinds of new stuff in it. MACC, the Massachusetts Association for Conservation Commissioners, is putting on a free training that is going to be on July 20th. The commissioners in Merrimack still have to discuss it. Originally, they were talking about sending the chair of the commission, but he's not going to be able to make it. So there was some discussion. I did let them know last week that unless any one of them is super dead set on going to that I would be happy to go for both towns. Because MACC is geared more towards commission members rather than staff, they are doing a priority for commission members. However, I have no problem reaching out to them to say that I'm going to be representing both towns, and that I can just tell them that we don't have anyone available, any commissioners available that day. It's going to be an all-day in-person training in Acton. They believe that's going to be the location for it. So it would require somebody to be prepared to be gone all day. I believe that's going to be a Thursday. So it'll be an all-day thing. And again, I have no problem with going out there unless any one of you is super set on it. Like I said in my email, sending me does not mean that you guys won't have an opportunity to get any training on that. The Nero circuit rider is planning on doing several trainings throughout the summer. She's going to do in-person and virtual trainings throughout the Northeast region. So, and that's going to be open to commission members and staff. So if you guys are comfortable sending me to go to that, and I'm able to actually get into it, there's only 24 spots and there's 83 communities in Nero. So obviously not everybody is going to be able to send somebody from their municipality. But if I am able to get in, there are going to be plenty of opportunities for commission members to get training on that as well, if you're interested in it.
Well, Sam, I look forward to your detailed update after you've attended this seminar. Team, does anyone, Sam brings up a good point. Does anyone want to go to this? It's a bad day for me. And again, I'd rather have Sam be the smartest person at our meetings on this BVW anyway.
I'll likely attend some of that other training, the shorter versions.
Okay. Brad, are you raising your hand? Do you want to volunteer to attend this meeting?
No, I'm good, thank you.
A Mitch.
Yeah. TJ, how about you?
I'm good. I'll let Sam.
Okay. Now, you know, I'm going to reach
Take the
out
lead.
to, you know what, Sam, I should check with Woody and Mick.
I was just going to say we should probably
They
ask
may
them
want
too.
to donate 8 hours of their lives to watering vegetation.
It's a little short notice for my schedule. Sounds interesting, but I don't think I can attend on the 20th, and really trust Sam to give us a rundown on it.
Woody, this is your last chance to raise your hand. You'll be fully sworn in. You'll be a seated member. You could be the smartest guy on the commission with this training.
I unfortunately have to pass on it at this time, but I do look forward to some training in the future.
Okay.
I read the email from Sam. Thank you, Sam.
Sam, anything else?
Not that I can think of. I think that was the only thing that I didn't actually have on the agenda that I wanted to touch on. So I will send out, I believe MACC is planning on putting out the registration for that. I think they said it was going to go out sometime this week. So I'll send their education coordinator an email today or tonight and see if I can maybe get a written exception to the commission member priority for that one.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
I think that's
All
all.
right. I want to take a moment to recognize Pete Pecos' service and contribution to the commission. Pete, it's been an extreme pleasure getting to meet you, getting to know you, and your knowledge. I mean, your empirical knowledge, you've forgotten more than most of us know at this point in our early careers. But thank you, my friend. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and we're going to miss you.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed my time with this commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Good job, Pete.
But he's still
Pete.
gonna come on Tuesdays, so we're not gonna miss him too much.
See you at the dump.
All right, team. Mick, what do you, any closing comments? You see how the commission rolls. There's always room for improvement, as we all know. But it's 8:15 and we're in pretty good shape here tonight. So
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to being able to help out.
okay, great. Woody, look forward to working with you.
Yes, thank you, Bob, and excuse my tardiness. We sign into this Zoom platform a little different than.
Listen, you're not on the hook to July 1, so you don't have to apologize, my friend.
Yeah, no, I'll be in attendance for our first meeting.
Well,
And, one quick question.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
The next meeting in July that I'll be sworn in for us, they start at 6 now, right?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Just make
And
sure.
we honestly try to start right at the appropriate time, just to get Sam out of here at an earlier time. So,
Yes.
Sam has a long day under her belt on Tuesday, so, but good night, everyone. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Pete,
hi.
Brad, TJ, Diane.
Aye,
Tom,
aye.
And Mick and Woody, you don't have any votes yet, so.
We
good
got
night,
nothing.
guys.
I'm
Good
sure
night,
they're
Sam.
okay.
Good night.
Yeah, no,
Good night.
yeah, Sam, if you need anything from me with the MACC on that, maybe it's going to be the chair or his designee is how you may want to word that. We know who that's going to be. Good night, everybody.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you,
Have a good night.
guys.